So here's a cool one I've been thinking about that not a lot of people know. So Aries, they turn gray because they're one of their 12 tissue salts, cell salts, mineral salts that make up their body. Their mineral is potassium phosphate, and that's for the gray matter in the brain and the gray nerve endings. And Aries are deficient in this mineral, and they turn gray. Taurus, they turn yellow. They're deficient sodium sulfate, which is for the liver and liver bile. And when you're bilious, you turn yellow. So Tauruses become bilious and turn yellow because of a sodium sulfate deficiency. Geminis, they get rosacea, rosy red blush with spider veins. And it's interesting because Mercury rules Gemini, and Mercury is the spider weaver. And Cancer, they get an undertone of purple under their skin, especially on their face, and it's concentrated in a 45-degree line right here and here. And if you look real close, there's cubical folds, so little square wrinkles or folds right in that area, purple. And it's interesting because their crystal and their mineral is fluorite, and a lot of fluorite is purple. And Leo, they turn bright red like the sun. The mineral for Leo is magnesium phosphate. They get real blushy red, especially with alcohol. Tips of the ears get red, and the sides of the nose get red. And it's bright like the sun. Virgo, they get like sunspots or like liver spots, dark moles. And their mineral is potassium sulfate, which is for the liver. And they get liver spots. A lot of the sulfates are for the liver. Libra, they get vertical lines on the upper lip, hanging skin along the jawline, and the color, I'm not exactly sure, but their salt is sodium phosphate, and sodium phosphate is one of the 2 alkaline salts out of the 12. And you get hanging skin from over-acidity. So Libras, they're all about balance, but they do tend to get acidic later in life. Scorpio, they turn pale, ghost, gypsum, alabaster white. Scorpio, scorps, the corpse. They really do. Find it on your movies, when you're watching movies, any of these things. Scorpio's easy. Pull up their name with astro theme behind it and get the celebrity actors' birth charts, and you'll see placements in Scorpio or the 8th house. And their mineral is gypsum or calcium sulfate, which is white, or selenite. They're all the same thing. They're all calcium sulfate. And when they're deficient in that salt, they turn that color somehow. Sagittarius, their crystal is clear quartz, and their skin turns translucent and thin. You'll see it on the temples, and they also get widespread wrinkling because silica it prevents that. And their Sagittarius' motto is I see. And what do you see with glasses? Glasses are made out of silica, and it's also the sign that has to do with vision and visionary impairments. If you look up the charts of people that lose an eye, they usually have Sagittarius placements. And lastly, Sagittarius is a very visionary planet, and silica crystals are in the pineal gland, and silica is pressure electric, and the pineal gland creates colorful electricity. When you send cerebrospinal fluid up the column to hit the pineal gland, it produces visions. And Jupiter is the third eye chakra, which is the pineal gland, and Jupiter is the ruler to Sagittarius. So Jupiter, Sagittarius, silica, and quartz are all heavily related with seeing, the most abundant sense we have, vision. Capricorn, they look a bit waxy. They get a waxy look, and they get a dimple right here and here. And they get a brown stain on their eyelids. This is usually later in life, but very often young as well. And their mineral is calcium phosphate for the bones. And they get a bit of a white, waxy look, like calcium white to yellow, waxy appearance. And this mineral is for the bones, and Capricorns are slightly deficient on this. And a lot of Capricorn children have thinner bones and a thinner neck. That's about all on that briefly. Aquarius, they hold extra water, and it creates these nasal clavicle folds right here. A lot of Aquariuses. Just look up their chart. If you see somebody with these, they're called like smile lines, and their mineral is sodium chloride, which is the water bearer, the motto for Aquarius. Sodium chloride. They get belly bloat, they get migraines because there's too much water pressing on the cerebellum. They need sodium chloride because they're retaining too much water. Pisces, their mineral is iron phosphate, and they get a dark circle under the eyes from lack of oxygen and lack of sleep. And this mineral has to do with oxygenating the brain and blood, and it's the sign of the fish, and fish, they don't get any oxygen. Yeah, that's about briefly through them all. I have a larger detail of information that we actually put into a book with all the specific information on each degree that your planets land on, and I can post that in the description. But that's something that I wanted to share that not a lot of people know, and I've known it to be accurate for almost 10 years. I've been consistently noticing these things that I listed. It's really fun, actually. All right, thanks.